of Oklahoma at 12-0 and still looking for respect nationwide.
What is going on, Sooner Nation? Thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Barry and Mack Show. As always, myself, Barry, personal trainer, sports performance coach out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and alongside me, former Sooner wide receiver, 2000 national champ, Mr. Damian Mackey. How are we doing tonight, D Mac?
What's going on, B? I apologize to everybody for being tardy. I was trying to have Barry help me figure out the whiteboard. We used to do our show on Zoom, and the whiteboard is functionality embedded into the program. It's not here, and so we're trying to figure it out. But good, great football tomorrow. Holiday season is low-key in full effect. You know, good to be doing the pregame. Good to be doing the pregame.
Absolutely, man. Holiday season is in full effect, man. I put up the inflatable baby Christmas Yoda tonight. So baby Christmas Yoda is out in the front yard, man.
You scared me when you started with the inflatable. I was scared for a second.
Oh, man. But as always, want to let everybody know, show's brought to you by OU Insider, OUinsider.com. Go over there, get yourself a membership. D-Mac, real quick before we jump in, for those who weren't on yesterday, maybe people who just catch the pre and the post game, you have some stuff you're working on, so plug that for a little bit before we hop into the show.
Somebody watched my highlight reel. Salute. Yeah, guys, I'm writing a book. In fact, Barry, I wrote the second excerpt. I'm gonna send it to you. In fact, I might have to have you post it on OUI because I tried to just put it in a post, but it's more than 10,000 words, so they won't let me just, like copy and paste it into an actual post. I have to put it in as a link. But guys, I'm writing a book. It's called Crimson Red October, a season of Sooner greatness, and it's essentially a book that I've been asked to write per some of the things I've done on social media and on OU Insider. And shout out to old school rivals. If you've been around that world, on occasion, I would generally write stories about my experiences at OU, and not so much about me. It's not really about Mackey. It's more about the temperament, the strategy, the relationships, the culture around the team that, obviously turned the university around and brought a national championship, the last national championship to OU. And so the book is called A Crimson Red October, and it really speaks to that October that we had in 2000, where we played Texas as a number 10 team in America, and then K-State as a number 2 team in America, and then Nebraska as a number 1 team in America in consecutive weeks. By the way, it was like a record, and since that, I don't think it had ever been done since like pre-World War I was like the last time it had been done. So I've been watching a lot of film and going back and watching those games, and it's been fun, man. It's been nostalgic. It's been kind of exciting. Kind of reminds me. It was just interesting to see the dynamic of the players, how I remember it today versus how it actually was back then. But it's really sparked just a layer of, I believe, importance to the Sooner history of what the inner workings of that year is. So the book is not about feelings. The book is about the strategies, the key moments in games that were the difference between wins and losses, some key structural things we did differently in preparation for those games. As some of you guys know, in 99, we got out ahead on Texas and lost. We got ahead on Notre Dame and lost. We lost to Ole Miss in the last seconds of the Sanford penmanship. What the hell? I forgot that. Independence Bowl. There it is. The Independence Bowl, my freshman year, right? And so there are some stories that I just don't feel like have never been told, right? Key conversations on the sidelines during games, key possessions during the Texas game, the K-State game, the Nebraska game, and really key relationships and friendships behind the scenes. That was the nucleus behind why we were so adamant about each other, about the OU symbol, about Bob Stoops and his staff and our coaches. It was a special year. And so 25 years from that time, I've got what's today? Today's the 14th? Got 6 more days. I got 6 more days to finish, but I'm almost done. So I've got 5 excerpts done. I got to do 10 total. Then I got to do a couple of interviews. This is a opportunity that we hope to have available for people by Christmas. It's a Christmas gift you can actually purchase for someone in your family and have it under the tree by December 20th. All right. And so pray for your boy. And if nerding out on the game is something that you want to be better exposed to, this is a book for you. If you want to better understand what's going on behind the scenes in the chess match that is college football, this is probably the book for you. And if you don't mind a little vulgar, raw, like just keep it 100%. Like I'm just telling you, the conversations are the raw conversations we had. This is probably a book for you. If my generation is some of the guys you know or fans of, I mean, I talk about all the guys: Savage, Woolfolk, Ante Jones, T. Marshall, Hype, Trent Smith, Howard Duncan, Frank Romero. The guys, like the story is about our conversations on the field, in the training room, in the film room, on the practice fields, game day conversations. It's a pretty interesting book. So looking forward to those of you who participate. No pressure, not tripping. But it will be cool to be a published author. So I've written a lot of stuff. I've been published in articles, but to be published as an author, I'm excited about that.
But man, before we move on, I know last time we talked about K-State. I wanted to ask, in watching some of the film, some of the things that you had to dive into, was there a player you saw or a moment where you're like, oh man, I totally forgot about this guy, or I forgot that this guy did this thing? Were there any moments that kind of jogged the memory that brought up some other stuff, or just maybe a guy you're like, man, I hadn't thought about him in 20 years?
Well, I'll say this. We were so competitive, and I just loved the way they rotated us based upon merit. Nobody could ever go and be like, I didn't get a chance, because like it was merit. Every day you had to win, and it was a very clear scorecard on who scored the best played. So I always looked at the 5 receivers as equals. Andre Woolfolk was the most physically gifted. Dre was 6'1.5". He was literally a 4.38 dude. He could jump 40 inches, and he was quicker than me. And I was the quickest guy on the team, and he was quicker than me, like 3 inches taller than me. More, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like Drake was a freak, which is why he played 1 year of DB and was a first-round draft pick. Like he was a freak. Antoine Savage was really good. I watched the film. You know, by the way, Josh Norman was also really good. Jay Norm was a killer mismatch. And watching the film or just watching the games, it was really apparent some of the talent we had. And I firmly believe, discounted. Our defense didn't. I'm watching the K-State game, and the entire game they're talking about K-State and how amazing they are when we play them in Manhattan. And I'm like, our defense is kicking their defense's ass. Josh threw for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. Q ran for 2 touchdowns. I'm like, they talking about the wrong defense. Our defense balled. But here's what it reminded me of. 3 names come to mind. I just brought out the receivers because of the receivers. Barry. Josh Heupel doesn't get the credit he deserves. That's a Q. And Mackey's being biased. Go back and watch the games, guys. Just a different game. Josh caught all the plays. Josh made all the audibles. Quarterbacks got hit late. He plays the entire second half of the season. He can't throw the ball. I watched the K-State Big 12 championship game. He couldn't throw the ball 15 yards. And you could hear Gary Danielson like, yo, he missed the receiver by 15 yards. Yes, because his arm was shredded. Dude was just tough as nails, bro. And then the other 2 are Rocky and Torrance. I think I said it yesterday on the pod. They didn't miss tackles. Rocky Torrance and Roy Lee did not miss tackles. If you were in their area and they had got their hands on you, you're tackled. And it's just so different than how the game is played now, where everybody misses tackles, right? There's fundamentally sound guys and players and NFL dudes. I'm not going to take away anything from that, but just like I said yesterday, being in a program 3, 4, 5 years in the same scheme, 3, 4, 5 years, and really having a clear description of the expectations of you as a player and what to do. Rocky was amazing, bro. T. Marshall was amazing. You know who else? And I make fun of him a lot. He's in my book a lot. JT Thatcher was JT, bro. JT, bro. You talk about big plays written all over a guy. I just, I'm watching 4 games. Every game, he's got a kick return, a punt return, or an interception. Every game. And every game he misses 2 freaking tackles that turns into a big play or a touchdown. It's like, God dang, JT. But it's been fun, man. Like I said yesterday, I haven't watched film. I haven't watched our games in 20 years. Easy, maybe 25. It's been 20 plus years since I've watched some of that stuff. And it's been fun to see just in full games. So looking forward to the book. I appreciate you. I mean, obviously it's our platform. I don't even be thinking to talk about the book. So I'm glad you bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun times. I think the other thing is I hate that people try to illegitimize our team because we weren't really good years prior. It's kind of like the 03 and 04 teams that lost. They were perceived so far ahead as over and beyond the best teams. They called the 03 team the best offense ever before they lost to K-State.
Yeah.
They called the 03 Oklahoma Sooners team the best offense ever. By the way, this is the year before AD. This is Kiwan and Ronaldo's senior year, and then Kiwan was maybe a junior or something like that. But those guys were given more kudos because of the things we established. But our year, every big game, they discounted us, and I think we had a chip on our shoulder. It definitely impacted us. Man, yeah, Q, bro. Q has some plays. I don't care what nobody says. It's been 25 years. He looks like Barry Sanders. I don't give a damn. They used to be like, everybody used to talk smack. Go back and watch the film now. He looked like Barry, bro. He looked like Barry Sanders. Like, just some of the things he did. Ridiculous.
Man, imagine this. I'm gonna play a big what if. Go back and let's say it's NIL era, right?
Oh, okay.
And you got a guy like Quentin who you could say, hey, we're gonna up your salary $250 a year if you stay for the 03 season. Like, what does that do to that 03 team if Quentin stays for his senior year?
Well, the thing is, 99, 2000, he remember. So that's what I thought you were gonna say. The only way that scenario works is if he gets a COVID year because the guy's got a COVID year during COVID, or if Damon Parker stays for 99.
That's right.
So
That's right. Because he didn't end up redshirting. You're totally right.
Damon Parker leaves after 98, which if he stays, he's probably the best running back in America 99 or one of. But Damon leaves in 98. Q is redshirting. Q's in the toilet bowl every Monday. Everybody knows the story of Barry Switzer started the toilet bowls on Mondays, and it's all the red shirts playing against the 2s and 3s, and the red shirts get an opportunity to see if second half of the year they can come up. Bob brought it back. And so it was a video game. Q was a man amongst boys in the toilet bowl. And then 3 of our running backs, Reggie Skinner, Mike Thornton, Johnny Bayless, they all got hurt. And they were all just decent. None of those guys were really dudes. Reggie Skinner was probably the best of the 3, in my opinion. And they had to bring up Q when we play Missouri. So Q plays Missouri's first game. I scored a touchdown that game as a redshirt freshman. Q runs for 77 yards and a touchdown, and he burns his red shirt. So he couldn't have played on that 03 team. If he would have kept his shirt, then he would have been on the 03 team.
Buddy, man, before we move on, I do want to touch on this question Seth asked. And this goes into just traditional pride of programs, uniforms, and he was asking about the helmet logo that's changed, but then also seeing OU, if ever, do like a sticker deal like the Buckeye on the Ohio State helmet. Do you think that would work for a program like OU? Would you ever like to see something like that? What are your thoughts on the helmet stickers, if you will?
I wouldn't mind the italicized OU. I'm cool with that. The 80s and early 90s OU, that's italicized. But I mean, it has to be history at a school like OU to just bring something. That would be super weird to just bring it out now to do like a paw or a Buckeye. I think those guys have it because it's a part of their history. That would be like Notre Dame putting an Irishman on the triple gold helmet. I don't think it'll fly. So I don't think we're interested at all in any type of Seminole Spears or Buckeyes per se. I don't think that's something we would ever do. To me, it would be kind of off brand. But I definitely think, I like that they wore the throwbacks again this year. I think they should make a home throwback. Or wait. We wear the throwback at home. We need an away throwback. Wait, do we wear the throwback away or at home?
It
The
was
one
at
with
home
last.
this year. It was similar to '03, that like
Yeah, yeah,
Straight
yeah,
and
yeah,
Teddy and Harris, but it
yeah,
was more of the cherry red
yeah, yeah, yeah.
look
Yeah.
from the Wilkinson era.
I like doing some of the throwbacks of our old retro stuff. I don't like doing the shiny stuff. I didn't mind the Unity uniforms or whatever those ones were called.
The
I don't I
anthracite.
don't I don't hate it. I didn't like the numbers. We can't, as fans, if you're not watching the game live, you can't see the numbers. Um, we have enough cool uniform concepts from our history that we could break out some of the OGs and be good. So keep that up. I'm not upset about it. I don't want what would OU even use? A wagon? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want 12 wagons on my
Yeah,
helmet. I'm out.
a
Yeah, I
little
don't think
horse head, a little.
yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, you're totally right, man. It's there's simplicity in it, right? Penn State's helmet looks cool because you like know like that's Penn State with the blue stripe, and you got a program like Alabama that has the numbers on the side. It's just a look and an aesthetic that the moment you turn on the television, you're like, that's
Yeah.
OU, that's Alabama, which will be the matchup coming up tomorrow. DMAC, we're going to dive into it. Yesterday, we did a lot of the injury stuff. We did some college football playoff discussion. Tonight, we're going to show some film. But before that, I just want to get your take and maybe some more inside the mind of OC and DC DMAC on this one, with what it's going to take for OU to secure what is now going to be the biggest, when they go get this done, the biggest win of the season, one that really matters in terms of playoff contention. If they win this and win out, OU is secured a playoff spot, no doubt. But Bama is going to throw out the two best receivers, at least in combo with quarterback, that OU will see all season, in Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. You got Ty Simpson, who's 20 touchdowns to 1 interception on the season. And OU has struggled at times in the pass game, defending the pass, as we will see in one of the clips you're going to show us, really two of the clips. And I just want you to put on the OC and DC helmet right now as a former player, guy who knows ball. But what is it going to take for this Sooner team to go get the victory here tomorrow, DMAC?
Yeah, I think the two things that I want to focus on, and it sounds cliche to say, but I think it's extremely important in this game. We got to stop the run. We have to make sure they are in 2nd and 7 or 8. I'd love to have them in 2nd and long, 9, 10, and 11, because if we can't stop the run, they are going to kill us with the pass. We can't hold up. And I hate to use the word can't. I'm a business coach, and I tell my agents and my brokers all the time, don't take the word can't out of your vocabulary. But our team, our defense, our cornerbacks have shown that they can't consistently hold up in man coverage. They either panic and get a flag, or they just flat out get beat. And with Gentry, it looks to me like he's not going to play. He was doubtful yesterday. We all saw that. But he's the caliber of corner we need. If we had Gentry and Gullery, I'd feel good. It'd be curious. I'm curious to see if Jacoby Johnson's a guy they accelerate up into the more of the ones type position, just because he has the size, speed, and I think his films look good. He probably was the best performing corner not named Guillory against Tennessee, and against Ole Miss. Ole Miss tried him deep, and he was right there in the hip pocket. So did Tennessee. So we'll just see personnel wise what we do. But if we can't stop the run, they're going to kill us on the in cut. They run those in cuts on action all day long, and they run it from all three positions. By the way, guys, it's why we were late. I was trying to get the whiteboard up so I could show what they're trying to do to get behind the backer position. But yeah, that's number one. And then number two, we have to find out if our quarterback is physically and mentally healthy. I think the thumb is legitimate. Again, everybody's hurt in November. Everybody's got an owie in November. Like, he legitimately was injured in September, had the surgery, and it's 2 months since then. And so if we're playing with him, I don't want to hear about no injury. That he's been playing with 3 games. He's been playing with 5 weeks. Like, everybody's got something to be concerned about. And I'm glad he's not making it an issue. But the bigger issue for me, and we're going to show on film tonight, is his psyche. we feel like he's seeing ghosts. We feel like he's not following the play. We feel like he's missing receivers when they are open. And so, yeah, I agree. We need the material from Michigan back. We need that guy who has his hair on fire and is unafraid to play ball, but also can execute and hit the strike. We've got to stop the run. Mateer has to be championship caliber Mateer. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. The other thing is our offensive line. Alabama is not the Alabama of 6, 7, 8 years ago where you just could not run the football. And with X-Rob and Blaylock, I say both because I think our coaches are smart enough. That's a pretty big assumption sometimes. But I think our OC and our running back coach is smart enough to allow both of them to get an opportunity to see some success, to see the ball, to run the ball. And if we do and consistently get 3, 4, 5 yards in the first half, I think we bust a couple just because their run defense is an issue that they're going to have to address when we have the ball.
D-Mac, I think that's a good segue in talking about their run defense. They give up almost 4.5 yards per carry on the ground, and they have struggled themselves to run the ball a little under. I want to say it's like 3.4, 3.3 per carry. And for Alabama, right, the historic teams that we've seen in yesteryear over the past decade, that's just not normal Alabama football. It's more reminiscent of just a traditional air raid team that lacks the offensive line nastiness, lacks the explosive back in the backfield to take it 50, take it 60, because that's how they used to establish a lot of that, man. They'd have a Najee Harris or a Trent Richardson who would get 6, who'd get 11, get 2, and then break it off for 40. And they just don't have that guy. Miller is their best back. He's sitting at under 400 yards on the season. So at this point, the teams are who they are, and it really comes down to, can Oklahoma stop the run, as you're saying? Because if Bama, I think to your point, if they can run the ball and then the play action is there, being able to get those defensive backs and those backers to creep up at all with what we're going to see on film, with how Ty Simpson completes the deep ball, which he loads and throws with timing. And one of the things I like about his deep ball, D-Mac, is that thing does not float. And it almost looks like when he throws it, it reminds you a little bit of Baker, where he rips that thing and you think it's going to be an overthrow, but the receiver runs right underneath it, full stride. That is how they took the top off of LSU. That's what they did to Georgia when they needed explosive plays. And I think OU does have the guys. You're losing an RMT, but they have the guys up front to hold and establish that line of scrimmage when they're on the defensive side of the ball. But can they hold up in the pass game? D-Mac, you think we're ready for this first play here to break it down for the fans? And which one do you want me to go to? You want me to do the one early in the Tennessee game, or go to the double post?
Well, let's go ahead and let people know what we're doing, guys. We're going to transition to some schematic things. We're going to transition to some schematic things that we've talked about and noticed all year, and we want to embed and incorporate more actual game situational plays to the pod. Both of us dealt with some crazy stuff last week. I lost my mom's oldest sister, passed away last week, and so I didn't do a chalk with you guys. Been mourning that. In fact, we got a barrier Tuesday, but we're gonna essentially pilot incorporating some plays into this. And what we can do tomorrow is, if we timestamp it, well, I don't know how fast the games will be available for us to see and timestamp on a post-game pod, but we can definitely do 24, 48 hours after the game. There should be something up on YouTube, or just the highlights, right? If some of the highlights of the plays we address, we'll be able to do those. By the way, shout out to Bishop Franklin. Been a member for a month. Salute, bro. Really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Been locking and loaded with us. But anyway, yeah, let's jump into it. So the 3 plays, are we doing 3B? It's 3?
Yeah, we'll do the 3. Yep.
Okay. So the first play is a play, and I think it's the early in the game play. It's something that I've been concerned about. Oh, it's the double post.
No, we'll go right here. Here we go. Here.
Yeah. So this is I appreciate you, Daughters John. I appreciate that. Daughters Jean. This is what I talk about when I talk about just science, biology, right? I hate and a part of me feels like a jerk for continuing to bring this up, but a part of me just understands college football and how people will press on a weakness if they see it. And again, I've said this as many times as I can say it. I really think Eli Bowen is a tough, competent. I think he's a nickel who could play in the league 7, 8 years. I firmly believe that. But as a corner in a conference like the one we are in, when people can isolate you, we're going to show two examples. And the second example isn't about him, but he just happens to be the DB on the receiver. And this is what I mean by saying simply by design. If teams see a 5'9.5", 187-pound, 179-pound, whatever he is, DB on that edge, and they've got a bigger 6'2", long-armed receiver, all right, gravity's just not going to be on his side. Biology is just not going to be on his side, right? And sheer girth, strength, and power is not going to be on his side. And so this is the play right after they call the bogus PI on Guillory, first possession of the game. The tight end literally runs right into him, and he kind of holds him to not knock on his ass. If you guys remember, they call a PI on him. This is the very next play. And on this play, they're in their super wide splits outside the numbers. You can see we've got a 42 box. I'd call that a 42 box. There'd be 4 down linemen, even though I think that's RMT in a 2-point stance, right? More eyes on the quarterback versus a hand in the dirt. You've got, it looks to me like Heineke, I think, is playing the Mike backer in this position. It looks to me like Kip is what we would call the overhang. All right, and it might be flipped. It might be Kip as the Mike and Heineke as the overhang, but you can see there's 2 backers. And I don't even know if it's Kendall Daniels. It could be Kendall and they're in a sub package. I don't know. But my point is, at the snap of the ball, you're going to see everybody do their job perfect. The issue lies in your corner not being physically strong enough or physically long enough to make a play. And he actually does his technique textbook. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. If they run a quick screen, he's supposed to put his ass to the sideline and invite the receiver to go inside. Press play. Let's see what happens. They show a little action. He's outside. He's just not big enough. And boom, they're out the gate. All right. Again, I don't know if you can back it up, but you can see this. So stop right there. I think that's Kendall coming. Kendall's coming inside out. That's perfect. Right? The corner's responsibility is to keep contained, keep everything inside of him. I believe the receiver may be holding him a little bit, but as long as his hands are inside, he's allowed to hold. So long as his hands are inside. So I don't complain. If I was a receiver coach, he'd get a crunch bar for that. Hell yeah, son, you kicked his ass. All right. But you can see the receiver is in a stocked position. And he's still taller than Eli, who's extended all the way. Eli's like extended all the way. The receiver's stalking, yet he's still a bigger man. And of course, the DB or the other receiver catches the ball. And as he presses play, Eli just can't make the play. And everybody else is in pursuit. All right. And by the way, that's Samuel. So that must have been Samuel and Heineke, or maybe Sammy was just subbing in because I don't think McKenzie plays. And so that's a play, guys, where, and I'm going to show another play, and this play isn't even about Eli. It just happens to be that he's the DB in coverage, and we see it again. He's just the far smaller, shorter dude. In this play, he's going to have perfect coverage again. Coverage is going to be perfect. It's textbook. And it's Barry, how long have I been saying this? I've been saying this since last season, right? Like last season, like guys, even when he's got someone covered, they're not covered. The quarterback's gonna throw the ball just because of the biology. But on this particular play, guys, you guys can see we were at a 41 front. I'd call that a 41 just because it's a 42. The backer's 5 yards, right? So we got 3 down linemen. I don't know who that is with his 3-point stance. You see, we've got, I think it's Kendall over the tight end. And then we've got a back.
KD.
And then we've got Heineke, I think, at 5. And then we've got Kip up, right? So Kip's responsibilities, if they show a run now, Kip has run responsibilities only. Any type of action, Kip's canceling the A gap. Play side, if they stay play side, if the running back crosses, he goes to backside, right? Heine's reading because they're an RPO team. Heine cannot just run if he sees run. He's got to read first and read and react, right? And then Kendall is through the tight end to run. So if the tight end tries to block, he's through the tight end, and then he has to block. And then the safeties, the DBs are all pass responsibility, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think RSJ is right behind Kendall Daniels, and then Peyton Bowen is on the hash mark, right?
Yep.
Now, we can't see it here, but there's two receivers outside the tight end. So they've got trips to the field. They got the tight end, and then they've got two receivers. I didn't give Barry the prior play, but they run this play twice. On one play, they should have scored a touchdown, and on another play, they get a big play. By the way, they could have run it on plays where we got interceptions too when Aguilar was mixed up because we got pressure. I'm not certain. But here's what I want you guys to understand. There was a concept I talked about all game, double post. By the way, this is a concept Hype's running this stuff because it's stuff we ran since Leach. And all it is an isolation on your safety. All right, so again, in this particular play, we've got two safeties because they're to the field and because all three receivers are to the field side. You can see the backside safety, which is RSJ, is lined up 1 yard inside the tight end. That's perfect. He can get to any run to the boundary because the boundary's right in front of him. Easy, right? And then he can help to the field if they run anything to the field side. His job, RSJ, the guy directly behind Kendall, is 3 to 2 to 1. All right, 3 is the tight end. 2 would be the first slot. We can't see him on camera yet. 1 would be the outside receiver. Peyton's job is he's lined up over 2. We can't see him. So Peyton has to carry 2. Carry 2 means if 2 goes down the field, you've got to carry him up the field. The corner, which I believe they're probably in some type of, they can't be in 2. This might be 1 over. I don't know. It could be 2 over or 1 over, but the corner's got to stay on 1. So let me just tell you what you guys are getting ready to see. You're getting ready to see the tight end cut across the field. He's going to do what we would have called an ugly dig. By the way, he runs it exactly the way Leach taught us in 99, which is crazy, right? The play is literally out of our playbook. Tight end's going to run underneath Kendall and then over the middle backer and across the field. His job is to turn the linebackers back so he can't see anything. He's going to turn and run. And of course, if he doesn't run, the quarterback's throwing to him now. Okay. The number 2 receiver is running a post, and he's running his post on Peyton Bowen. Now listen carefully because this is the X's and O's of football. Number 1 receiver, who Eli Bowen is covering, is also running a post. I believe this play is in the 4th quarter or late in the 3rd quarter. By this time in the game, they've run the play 3 times. They've scored a touchdown on it. Oh, they scored a touchdown on it at the beginning of the game on RSJ. Yep, they ran it in goal line or in the red zone, about the 10-yard line. They showed the ball. They ran the double post. Both the safeties jumped, and then he throws the post in the back of the end zone. RSJ can't get there. They're going to run it again. All right, and I want you guys to watch the decision RSJ makes, and I want you guys to think about Alabama and how they run their in cuts. RSJ's job is 3 to 2 to 1. He's looking. Peyton Bowen's job is 2 to 1. And if 2 goes, he's got to carry 2. That means he's got to stay on top of 2. Eli's job is 1, right? Unless 1 does something short, sync and see if 2 or 3 come at you. If they run some type of smash and flag type of concept. 1 runs like a 5-yard sit, and then 2 runs a corner. You got to cover the corner. But they don't do that. They run a double post. And if you watch RSJ, this is the 3rd time in the game this happens. If he simply does what a really good, knowledgeable, experienced safety should do, which is just sink, just get deeper, he runs into an easy interception. But instead, they run the double post for the 3rd or 4th time, and at a time where we've got the lead and we need to keep them from scoring. Here's what happens. Go ahead and let the play run. So you see a tight end run the ugly dig on top of 1 over the back, and then they run the double post concept. And RSJ, if you rewind it, guys, RSJ essentially covers nobody. So you see Heineke. Let's watch 3 first. Heineke takes 3, carries, turns and runs. He's got 3. He's in trail techniques, perfect technique. Rewind it again. Let's watch Peyton. Peyton Bowen is at the hash mark. That receiver's job is intentionally trying to get separation so that Peyton clears out of there. And then keep it right there. Stop. Well, that's fine too. You guys, I don't know. You guys see it happen late, right? Peyton Bowen's in perfect position. He's in perfect position. The only problem is, look where he is right now. He's in trail technique. It has to be a perfect throw, which, by the way, he throws a perfect throw. The throw is perfect. But you can't ask a DB to cover inside on off man any better than that. The thing is, the DB needs to be longer and be closer to disrupt, because look how close he looks right there, and then snap it and watch where the ball placement is, which again, guys, this is a perfect throw, so I don't want to beat him up too bad. Yeah, can you play it from there? I mean, boom, right? He's there, he's just not there. But the bigger issue is your safety. Go back to pre-snap. Go back all the way to pre-snap. Watch your safety. Stop, don't play it yet. Kendall Daniels is at 4 yards, right? Heineke has to cover him if he crosses face, which is why you'll see Heineke stop and run. Watch where the ball is caught. Watch where RSJ is. And by the way, I don't even know if it's, RSJ. Yeah, that's RSJ because 4 is Guillory. Watch where RSJ starts versus where he ends, and watch where the ball is caught. If this were the first time, I wouldn't be like, right, they got us. The safety had to take the over. But if this is the 4th time, all he has to do is sink 10 yards and it's an easy interception. Run it. He literally follows him across the field. Heineke picks him up and he just takes himself out of the play, and they replace him with the post behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is textbook double post. Any passing game worth its salt has it in the playbook. And I hate to say expect, but I hope that our senior-laden DBs have enough experience to see that type of play, recognize it at the snap of the ball, and say, oh, I better sink because they're going to try to isolate, especially when the backside post is Eli Bowen. Now, that's football. Most people will say, oh, yeah, the tall guy, the fast guy caught it on the small guy. There's a reason certain teams don't give up big plays and other teams do. Right? If you're that safety, you're deepest man on the field. If your backer carries, the backer carried the over. Quarterback's going to throw a perfect pass for that thing to be anything, and you want him throwing the ball to the tight end if you're the safety. If I'm RSJ, just like he got earlier in the game, I'm literally sinking. Oh, double post is coming. Here it comes. Look, there it is. Boom. Both of them run the post, make the safety pick. Corners isolated, 1v1. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Eli going against Ryan Williams and number 5. And they got another guy. I think he's number 11. He's got a little bit of the dropsies, or number 1 and number 11, but he can go too. They got 3 dudes who can go. All right. And so when I look at these 2 plays, these are the plays that I'm talking about. I had 2 more, but we didn't cue them up tonight. Where you see the chess match going on. Guys, I queued this play up 3 or 4 times. And the other time he did it, Kendall Daniels carries it and knocks the ball out. And no, he didn't look at it. He doesn't have to look it off because the safety took himself out of the play. If the safety moves, it's 1v1, my receiver versus their corner. There's no need to look it off. The safety is a guy.
Yeah, the quarterback is eyeing this all the way.
Yeah. That's who you're looking off, is a safety. As soon as RSJ removes himself, he's got double post 1-on-1. Pick your poison. So, yeah, guys, this is the kind of stuff that makes the difference between wins and losses. And again, this is why I harp on this play. This isn't the first quarter. They beat us on this earlier in the game, which means we should have learned from it. They went back to it later in the game, and we did the exact same thing. And the issue that I have in terms of the size, speed, strength ratio of Eli. And now imagine if Eli's covering the tight end because he's a nickel. And he's got safety help over the top. I feel good about that. Or imagine if Eli's covering number 2, but he's got a safety over the top. I feel good about that too. It's when you've got your 5'9.5" DB going against their 6'3.5" receiver. Problematic.
And in those situations, you're right. It's not just that you have the size issue, right? It's the size with the speed, and the game is angles, and it's not just angles in the open field of like tackling or whether or not you're taking a good angle to be there when the ball arrives. It's also like when you are up in that tight physical guerrilla warfare position. If you can't get to a guy's inside leg, if you can't cross step over a guy easily, if your legs are literally not long enough to cover enough ground to get around a guy, well, when you look at that guy, part of the reason the block on the first play works is, man, when he's sprawled out like that and he's got a good sturdy base, Eli has no chance to cross face. There's no shot. Whereas if that's a Jacoby out there, as long as even if Jacoby isn't physical, even if Jacoby soft hands it, even if he only used speed or tried to accelerate, at the very least, if he stays low, he can attack that angle, and he has, if not an advantage, it's at least an even matchup. But yeah, man, when you are so disadvantaged from a size standpoint, and the same thing with the catch, right? That they are even until they're not. And the moment he puts his hands up, I guarantee you, when you extrapolate that out into the actual radius, the area that is covered by that receiver, I guarantee you it is at least a third more than what Eli is able to cover in a given scenario. And when you have a situation like that at corner, and you have Venables, who really, if he had his pick, he would have Gentry out there, right?
100%.
Eli has tackled well, and he has done his job better than Jacoby in different ways. So you have to imagine that that's what that coaching staff is looking at and saying that's why he's playing. But those are the kind of plays, as you alluded to, D-Mac, that will get you beat. And the OU against a good quarterback like Ty Simpson, who does not throw interceptions. He is great with the deep ball. He is great, or very good at least, at evading pressure and getting outside the pocket and maintaining good balance and not having happy feet, if you will. They almost, I don't want to say that OU needs to look at the Texas film and what Arch Manning did and say that's what Alabama's probably going to try to do to some degree. But I think that's what Alabama's going to try and do. The way Tennessee attacked them down the field, and the way Arch was able to get outside the pocket, reset, and deliver timely throws, that's what they're going to do. Now, the flip side is, can OU do that with Mateer on offense? And that's going to bring us to this last play. Guys, I talked yesterday in the show and discussed Riley's time at Oklahoma and the quarterback development that took place. And one of the things that is very important when you're coaching is having drills that are effective in getting the result that you want done, right? Any guy, any quarterback at any level can be told to play in practice. You run the play against air, or you run the play against a shell. You run the play against a defense that you know exactly what they're in. You're just working what it's going to be, and they will gradually up the stress level, but it's not in-game stress. To coach and simulate in-game stress, you have to really know and identify what a player needs and what's going to work, and look at what the actual data is. And if a drill doesn't work, you throw it out. And I talked about Mateer having a big jump next year if he can fix a couple things. And one of them is just not having calm feet. When you looked at him in the Texas game, when you looked at him even in the first half of the Tennessee game, the calmest he's looked all season was big chunks of South Carolina and the second half of the Tennessee game. and then against Michigan. That has been the best version of Mateer against good competition that OU has seen. But we're going to run this last play right here. Demo, let's see if we can get this one queued up right here. There we go. So
Hey, as you do that, there was a question. Oh, go ahead, bro.
Go for it. Let's go ahead and hit that real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as you cue that up, someone asked about Honey Badger, and I remember who, I can't even see who did. It was because I think that's a great comp. Somebody said, hey, what's the difference between a Honey Badger? The difference is Honey Badger played nickel or safety. They didn't line the Honey Badger up against, they had Patrick Peterson, and I forgot who the other corner was, but Honey Badger was a strong safety, and his size didn't matter because he was physical enough and he was aggressive enough to where he might have been 5'10", 182, whatever he was in college, but he never had deep responsibility, or he had a corner and he was the help. That's where I think Eli could thrive. I think Eli could be a starting safety next year before he should be our starting corner. All day and twice on Sunday, he could play safety. If he's already in the angle where he's going to support, his instincts are probably the highest on the DBs, based upon what I've seen. The problem is the biology. And so the Honey Badger comp is one that I think he could potentially be, right? And I know that's something where people say, oh, I don't want my safety to look like that. I would rather my safety be 5'10", 185 than my corner be 5'10", 185, just because how many teams are going to dial up a 6'3" receiver who's going to isolate you on an and then throw a moon ball, throw a deep post or a post corner. Good luck trying to cut. So I just wanted to speak to that because somebody asked that in the questions, and I think that's a great example. And I've used Honey Badger as his comp, Barry, for a year, right?
Yeah,
Would
you
say
have.
It's been about a year when I said his instincts, and so yeah, I just I saw someone say that. I just wanted to speak to that before we get to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, man. He is a player with good elite quickness. He has some good ball skills. As we've seen, we saw it against Alabama a season ago. So he's not a player that is devoid of talent, man. But anthropometrics, there's our coined word. We've said that now a few times on the pod, so I hope the OG fans know what we're talking about.
You've said it.
You've said it. Fair enough. The anthropometrics are not in his favor. His arm length, his height, and all those things. But one thing that is in OU's favor on this play, D-Mac, is the pressure in this scenario. And on this one, OU's got a 3rd and 7. It's second quarter. And because of the way the play breaks down, you really don't know that, and maybe you might be able to illuminate what you think is going on, but you don't see a lot of action in the secondary because they do more of a tight zoom in later. But I want to get your thoughts here in just a minute. But on this, You've got Tennessee with 6 in the box. Even Herbie right before the play is highlighting the defender that may or may not be also bringing pressure. But OU is going to have at least 6 with X-Rob staying in the backfield, at least to help for the time being. And I can't remember if the tight end stays right here, but OU is at least going to be man for man. And in this scenario, the player highlighted in yellow is not going to be bringing pressure. So it's going to end up being 5 against 4 at the line of scrimmage. So we'll let the play run, and we'll let the chat, guys, if you have an idea of what we're going to be discussing here, just based on what we talked about yesterday, we're gonna dive into it. So on this play, it's 3rd and 7. OU is still within 3, and they've got a scenario where Mateer begins to feel the pressure, as you say, DMAC ghosts. He feels the pressure way earlier than he needs to, and this is a part of his game. Guys, when he stands firm, when he is on balance, and when he is relaxed in the pocket, he delivers strikes, especially everything that is within, I'd say, 35 yards down the field. Like, he is a guy, he doesn't quite throw the deep ball like OU fans would want him to, but the intermediate game, working stuff into tight windows, having some zip on the ball at different arm angles, he does a good job. But what I want to highlight here is something that Baker and Kyler and Jalen, even Caleb in his time at USC was able to improve on. But we're going to roll it. And at this point, you have 4 guys who are bringing pressure for Tennessee. The pocket, D-Mac, is smooth. So, D-Mac, but put your OC hat on, your quarterback right here. What are you seeing at this point if you're Mateer on this play that ends up being a loss?
I'm glad you stopped it right here, guys. What I see, because I labor, or what's that word? I lament. There it is. I lament Arbuckle's offense. But what it looks to me like they're running is they're running levels to the field. Right, we're on the hash, right around the hash where the ball is hiked. We're I think that's Kanik running essentially just an under, but he's already on the outside, so it's like a speed out, right? And it looks like the slot receiver is getting ready to do an out cut, and then it looks like the number 1 receiver is running something deep to carry the DB out of the play. In theory, what I think we're trying to do is read from the speed out, not Kanik. The 2 receiver running the kind of a corner push out, and then eyes go across the middle of the field where there should be somebody coming across at about the first down yard, the yellow line, whoever that is at the top of the screen should be coming on some kind of in cut. If that's not what we're doing, that's what we should be doing. But to Barry's point, because it's open, right? That in cut is going to be open. Now it looks to me like that safety's waiting to drive on it. And I think that's what Mateer is bird dogging it, right? If Mateer is peeking to the field, that safety is taking steps to the field. But it looks like Mateer is bird dogging the in cut, so the safety is waiting to see if he's going to throw it so he can trigger, right? If Mateer stays play side, which is where the 3 receivers are, everything opens up. Okay, but here's the other thing I want you guys to look at. And this is why I don't mind getting into arguments with people who make ignorant statements. Tell me where the O-line is getting their ass kicked.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a picture perfect pocket. Perfect. I don't want to hate on the route Sooner Cowboys simply because we freeze framed it and I can't really see them well. Just a couple things to critique for the people who want to nerd out. If the 1 receiver who would be our X, his job is to run outside the DB, so the DB has to turn and run. We want that corner to have the speed turn so he can't see the out coming. Because if he does that, that overhang who's trying to carry the out can't get there. Mateer should have an easy throw. So I don't know the technique. And then, of course, if that guy turns and runs with the sit out, now Kanik, in theory, should be wide open. Put the ball in his upfield shoulder. He can turn and get the first down. So just looking at this play from right here, 3 things that I see. The offensive line is perfectly blocking this. And pre-snap, they're in 5 up, right? And so we've got 6 on 5. You really would call it 6 on 6. Can you go back to pre-snap?
Yep,
I
absolutely.
know you stopped in a perfect place, but go back to pre-snap because I want you guys to see how blocking schemes go, right? So pre-snap, the old line will call that 51, and the center would decide which side is going to man block, which side is going to zone block, and the running back's responsibility is to either, if he's on the man side, he's got the backer. If he's on the zone side, he picks up whoever doesn't get the double team. Okay, so that's textbook. We have the perfect protection to block this. Pre-snap, we're in a stack. It looks like we're in a stack, and we've got a nub. So Kanik's a nub. So it looks to me like both of these guys are getting width. So we see five up, a middle backer, and then we see 5 floaters. It could be a cover 5 where the corners stay and that safety comes up, or it could be a cover 2. All right. And it's kind of like how we run our cover 2, where the cheetah is at around 10. You guys sometimes see Kendall or Powers sitting like around safety depth, but he's coming in, right? His job is to rob. And so at pre-snap, he's sitting at around 9. The referee's at 8. He's at 9. So all his job is to cover the first down yard marker. That cheetah, that third safety right there in the middle of the field, right? Those 2 corners are 1v1 versus our 2 receivers. Pre-snap, there's no way they can cover our 2 receivers, especially if Mateer knows who's coming on the shallow out. Barry, who's coming on the shallow out? Kanik. They can't cover it.
Yep.
They can't cover it. Pre-snap.
There's no bodies. There's literally no bodies there.
We're going to be running away from whoever's trying to cover Kanik. And if both receivers are running down the field, those corners have to carry. pre-snap, this is an easy first down. Now, when you hike the ball, go ahead.
Yep.
Stop. First of all, Canucks wide open. But go back. I know you can't go back that well. Sorry, guys. This is what we're trying to figure
You're
out
good,
before
man.
we went live.
No, we got it right here.
Go
there
back.
You go.
Go back a couple more frames. No, a little farther. Go a little further. Go a little further. I want to be able to see the receivers like you had it before. One more frame.
Got it. There we go.
Right there. So we'll go up one more frame. So right there, right? You right there. You got a matchup zone. We know there's 2 DBs slightly off camera to the field side. Okay. Now we know one of those guys up. You see, he's pushing. The guy who lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage, he's now chasing number 2. That's called a carry. He's trying to carry. He's not even looking at Kanik. If we throw it to Kanik right now on the upfield shoulder, he's running to the field side with momentum, with the ability to catch a first down. But whatever, right? Play another frame. Go another frame. It looks like, okay, so stop right here. We can see right now very clearly Mateer is not looking to the play side. He's looking one-on-one to that sit route. And I think it's the backside Z or whoever that is. I don't know who that is playing that position. I think it's Burks, actually. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's Burks. But he's looking at it, bird dog, and the reason he can't throw it, go back a frame, because we saw it on the other one. Go back one frame. He can't throw it because that safety right there. That safety is robbing. And if he throws that ball, he's going to get Burks killed, or it's going to be a pick. When he really should have just stayed play side. He's got 3-on-3, and he's got Kanik breaking to the speed out, where if he throws the ball in rhythm, right, boom, throw the ball in rhythm. Right? If he stays play side, throws the ball in rhythm right there. Everybody look, right there. Throw the ball in rhythm. You've got to play. But guys, guess what? This isn't why Barry picked the play. Let's just say he didn't pick that. Okay? So he didn't pick that. Oh, shit, right? The world has an end. The sky isn't falling. Look at it, guys. Look at the pocket. It is a perfect pocket. And what Barry was speaking to is if the play isn't designed and you don't like what you first see, but look at all of his linemen. You know what he can see? This is how you know, and O-line guys will know this. A quarterback knows he's in good shape if he can see all of his O-linemen's ass. If he can see their asses, he knows he's in good shape. Look at all of them. Every last one of them ass is protecting him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a perfect pocket. Now, Barry noticed this. I know I'm speaking to it now, but Barry noticed it first. Watch his feet the next 2 seconds, because something else is going to come open and all he has to do is throw it. He can't throw it because he's got happy feet. Run it.
Yep.
So look, he's like, there's no reason to be scrambling. Look at it. Look at all the linemen. All their asses are in his face. All of them. And look at him. He's hopscotch, double dutch, jump rope. Look, he's literally looks like he's doing a lunge, walking lunges. And then right there's a perfect place to stop it. Guys, what do you see right there? First of all, the offensive line is still dominating.
Still, we're now 5 seconds into the play. Yep. Yeah.
Wide open.
Yep, wide open.
Go ahead, Barry. You can take it over.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, man. So the main thing that I wanted to touch on with this is once you drop your eyes and you have to bring them back up, as a quarterback, you're cooked. And in this situation, Mateer at least does it once, possibly twice. And the moment he drops down to run, when we go back right, really right here, again, this is what separates guys who are able to take the safety valve. And D-Mac, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if Mateer routinely took what was there and trusted his eyes on these plays that break down, you would have to change some degree how the defense is playing you. If the reason the defense can sit in this and play these aggressive styles is they know if you get any kind of pressure on Mateer and you force him to start dancing, he's not going to hit the easy play, right? He might hit it twice, maybe 3 times a game, but you hear him talking post-game about trusting his eyes. This is what you're talking about. And it's not just trusting your eyes, it's the ability to have the base, to stand firm, and to not immediately, right, even right here at this point, as you were alluding to, D-Mac, this is what, 3 or 4 yards minimum. Even if this corner or safety come up and hit X-Rob maybe breaks a tackle. That this is a situation where all Mateer has to do is keep the feet and the brain calm and trust that the O-line is going to do their job. And in this case, they do. You're now 8-13, about to be at 8-12. 8-12, Foj finally has the edge player pushing up into his face. He's got a hand up in Mateer's face. And then now X-Rob is taken off. The play breaks down. Mateer drops his eyes completely and takes a shot that he doesn't need to take. So D-Mac, could kind of sum up everything that we just saw from a football perspective and how this is going to be coached and what OU must do, what Mateer must do for OU to make this work against Bama.
I'm laughing at Vedrano, and he's been around for years. My bad, dog. This is stuff we queued up. We had some good plays too. I tell you what, tomorrow during the game,
Nothing but the
plays. I know. Sooner Cowboy, he is a skeptic. But tomorrow during Twitter, I'll be on my Twitter feed. You guys tell me what plays you want to queue up. We'll do some good and some bad, and we'll queue up some of the good stuff. That's fair. That's 100% fair. But this is stuff I texted Barry like 10 days ago, and we finally got around to it. But no, I'm looking at this play, and if you just go back to the very beginning, this is the stuff that irks my soul. And everyone knows I've been the biggest Arbuckle critic the last 7 or 8 weeks. And Barry and a lot of you guys that are listening right now, you guys listen to the pod consistently. I say, where the hell is our progression stuff? We used to call that 90 series. 90 series meant the line knew they had to block an additional second. 90 series gave us as receivers the ability to get down the field. 90 series is the double post concept, right? Or 80 series, which means action. We're going to show the ball like we're running the ball, and then action. 70 series meant rollout. 60 series was quick game, right? But this is a 90 series, and we don't have the same language that we used to have it, with the Leach and Link offense. But this is a 90 series off play, and it looks like he's running levels. Flood the field with 3-level routes, and you got 3v3 running away from coverage. This should be textbook. So when you ask me, Barry, my biggest issue on this play, it's not Arbuckle. He's got some brain farts, and we've addressed those too. This is your quarterback should have picked play side. I don't know why he doesn't pick the 3 receiver side, because pre-snap, there's only 3 dudes to cover 3 dudes. It's a matchup. It's matchup zone pre-snap, right? So right now we're in great shape. I don't like that he doesn't take that. The second thing I don't like is in a perfect pocket, he panics. Every person's ass is perfectly pointed at him. That's exactly what you want your pocket to look like. He's jumping around like a topscotch, like it's double dutch. And then 4 seconds later, he's got the throw to the running back. And we see the guy hovering, right? There's a guy who could potentially make the play, but it's a 3-4 yard gain and it's 4th and 2 versus hopping around from 3rd and 7. And now it's 4th and 9 with a sack. And those are the plays that get you killed. So this is the stuff that I want to see our quarterback make the easy play. To me, the easy play is just take play side right now. We've got 3v3. And we've got, it looks to me like we're running a speed out, a go route to take the corner out of the play. And then I wouldn't even call that speed out. We're running a corner, a sit corner. We're running a speed out and a go route. That's called a levels concept. You stretch them at levels and you stretch them with width. Everybody that has a playbook worth their salt has it, and then you've got a backside dig coming across. So quarterback's eyes should look to the levels, and if those aren't open, then you look across to the in cut. Right? It shouldn't just be saying, I'm going to peek and go directly. Like right now, it's open. The guy who is near our slot receiver, he's carrying 2. If he throws it to Kanik right now, Kanik's going to get a first. because that guy's angle is running upfield to take on that corner route. He's not running to try to get width for Kanik, and Kanik's a great athlete. That's a first down. He should have read that right now. Boom, ball's in Kanik's hand. Let's boogie. But he doesn't. Okay, beautiful. He's got a perfect pocket. All you see are asses pointing directed at him. Go ahead, let him run. Just watch how long his ass. Now he's jumping around. And then he stopped. Now and we see that the guy comes, like, oh man, my team's playing right now. I actually stayed to pod versus watch my high school team. They're hosting a playoff game tonight. In fact, let me check Max Preps to see how we're doing. Hopefully we're winning.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Yeah, man.
This kind of stuff is the stuff that gets you beat. And this kind of stuff is the stuff where Ty Simpson steps up in the pocket and drills a ball in there, and we've got to be prepared for it.
But and this is where the reason OU quarterbacks have succeeded in the past is being able to maintain depth in their drop back, not allow themselves, and you might take a shot, right? In this case, I don't even think Mateer, if he just stays in the pocket, he doesn't even get hit. And this is an extra hit. And then it makes me want to just highlight, that I heard on the radio this morning. I believe they were even talking to Kale on the Sports Animal, and they were asking, where has the stuff been to Kanik lately? Why hasn't Kanik seen them? This is a perfect opportunity where Mateer goes off Kanik almost immediately, and Kanik has the chance to be a playmaker right here. So this wasn't that OU was trying to scheme Kanik out of the playbook. They're not avoiding him because, he's not doing this or that. It's just a matter of it's there. It's available. This is what the defense is giving you, right? As you talked about, he's carrying the other receiver. Kanik is wide open with a chance to do something with the football. And the offensive line, and it ends up going down as a sack, I think is the sad part. Like the sack tells a bad story, man. It goes down as a sack. The O-line did their job. Everybody there handled business. You got two freshman bookends handling business. In the SEC, D-Mac, if you are able to give your quarterback 5 seconds where you're holding up that elite edge player for Tennessee, for Alabama, if OU is, keeping 49 at bay against the Crimson Tide for 5 seconds, any good quarterback with decent receivers should be able to get that done. So these are the kind of things, guys, that you want to see coached. I tried to find a few more of the jump balls. That there's one to X-Rob that's egregious, where it's a similar situation like this, D-Mac, where at the end of the play, he's got the little check down to X-Rob, but he does not. Well, he does take it, but he jump throws it, puts way too much velocity. There's no touch on the ball, and it's a hard pass to catch. It's behind X-Rob. It's just not a good play. If Mateer is able to clean these things up, easily 4 to 6 more completions a game, and probably decreases turnovers, and for sure decreases the amount of times he's taken hits, right? Yeah. So these are the details within the game that for OU to go and beat Alabama, they have to find a way to overcome a lot of these pitfalls. So D-Mac, as we sort of look to breaking down just real quick, what we think this game is going to look like tomorrow. What are some of the factors that you think are going to be key for OU's offense to not necessarily not be put in these scenarios, because Mateer is going to have a few of these. Just every game, it seems like there's a brain fart or two. But what does Arbuckle and the staff do to scheme Alabama out of those advantageous scenarios for them?
If I'm Arbuckle, especially as it relates to the pass game, I oversimplify the offense and give Mateer very clean pictures. Things that immediately come to mind are quick game, double slants, slant flat, sit route with a go route, speed out with a go route. Very clear, simple reads where he only has to read one guy. I have a sneaking suspicion that Mateer, if he gets into a rhythm and he starts to feel some confidence, I think he needs, and by the way, he absolutely got more confident later in the game, right? We didn't show that late third, that 3rd and 16, where I believe it was Fowler says, hey, they're supposed to be punting. And then they're like, oh yeah, there was a penalty. Well, they're going to punt after this play. And then he went and got 18 yards on the QB draw, right? Or I don't know if he scrambled or a draw. That play seemed to wake him up and change the way he played QB. So if I'm Arbuckle, I'm not queuing up a fade route at the beginning, double post concepts. I'm not queuing up dig routes where they're going 18 yards across the field like Ty Simpson is going to be doing. I'm going to queue up very clear pictures. They're playing cover 2. Hey, dude, we're going to run the speed out with the go route. If the corner turns and runs with the go, throw the speed out. If the corner sits on the speed route, hit the hole throw. That's a high school concept where defense is very clear. You can attack. Hey, if you don't like the speed out with the go, run the double slant, right? And then there's, again, some very easy triangle concepts. Again, in our old playbook, I ran these concepts with JV and varsity football, and the quarterbacks could pick them up. And these are concepts where you're just reading one player, and it's a pretty easy throw that I don't see us run as much. But those are the types of things that I'd give Mateer. I'd take Mateer back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, and say, hey, dude, run our stuff that we've run since you were in Wazoo, pat and go stuff. The other thing is keep him out of situations where he can get a turnover. If we go to Tuscaloosa and he gets an early turnover, it's really going to emphasize his mental psyche. We'll see if he's got that dog in him or if that turnover will be something that'll hurt the team. So we've really got to pay attention to possessing the ball. Somebody said it. Their defense, although not very stout in terms of stopping the run, they try to punch out the ball, and they don't try to rip it out. They punch at it. And so it's going to be interesting to see what ball security looks like tomorrow, if our guys are going to be running around with a loaf of bread, or if BV for the last 2 weeks has really emphasized high and tight, all 4 edges of the ball, cover the ball with your entire wrist. Don't keep it here. If you keep it on your chest plate, they can punch it down. You got to keep it here. In fact, keep it high. Right. So it'll be curious to see how they address ball security. And then third down. Those would be the 3 things I'd say.
Yeah, and just to add to that, this is also a team too. I think they're one of the best in the secondary with getting their head around and making competitive plays on the ball when it's in the air. That's why in turnover margin, they're killing everybody. So yes. OU has to go into this one saying, above all else, do not turn the ball over. And it
in a key moment, Satania.
Yeah, man. You can't have that. No, not in this one. Defensively, DMAC, OU may be playing with the hand tied behind their back. You don't have Gentry. That's a disadvantage at corner. You don't have RMT, it seems like, and guys, from what we're hearing, RMT listed on the injury report is doubtful. And I said this, back when I first saw the play. It might be I don't want to put this in the air, but hammies are just so difficult to come back from quickly. And you can't accelerate. You have not only. Here's the issue with hammies, guys, and for those of you who maybe have young athletes, like one of the biggest things you can do is have those guys doing Nordic ham curls, man, because the resilience that you build in that, and I imagine RMT could probably do a couple of those, but usually it's those kind of exercises. The fast guys are really good at them, but even then, there's always a risk that you get injured. But hammies, not only can you not accelerate, it also hurts to slow down. It hurts to accelerate. It hurts to slow down. And when you get open mid-stride, if you just barely miss that pattern, right, if you just get the knee a little too high, you're going to tweak it again. So it is such a precarious injury that our RMT might have been good, the Sunday might have felt good, goes out there Tuesday, and it feels awful. But Jaden Jackson, questionable on there, D-Mac. Kobe McKenzie seems like he's going to play, so that potentially is good, right? He's been a guy who, at least in some of the passing concepts, he's getting hands on guys. He is he's doing some good things there. But you'd imagine you want a guy like Kip playing his space. Maybe even the Daniel sees more time at backer in a game like this just for the length and the speed. But what does OU do to force Bama's hand? Well, what do they do outside of just saying we're not going to let you run the football? If you have an Eli Bowen out there, how do you mitigate that?
Yeah, we got to move Ty Simpson off the spot, and we got to make him leak to his left or leak to his right. I'd be willing to bet good money. I know my DC. By the way, I saw a lot of BV when I was watching those old games too. You should see the polo shirts. The polo shirts go all the way to the elbow. Those polo shirts in the early 2000s and late 90s were hilarious. But I am absolutely all day and twice on Sunday bringing A and B gap pressure, slanting to where we think they're going to run action, and forcing Ty Simpson to have to flush to his left or flush to his right. If he can step up in the pocket, we are in trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be very keen to see. I bet you we line up a lot in the 30 front, and we've got a lot of second level defenders who are going to be trying to do run throughs from the second level. I bet you see. It'd be interesting to see if they move Kendall to more of an RMT position, or where he's the guy at the end of the line of scrimmage on a 2-point, or if they move Okoye into that spot. That Ole Miss game, Okoye got skinny on that sack he got and then got real big. So we've got pieces, and so long as Chavis has gotten those guys prepared, they got to buy. You can't come out of a buy and look the same. You got to be better. If RMT hurt his wheel, it's not like the cupboard is bare and the other DNs are 6'1", 237-pound, bad-bodied North Texas dudes. We've actually got some depth at the position. Marvis Jones Jr., Wine, Okoye immediately come to mind. And then Kendall Daniels as a spinner, who's a guy who can do a lot of different things. I hope we queue up ways to get Okoye, to get Daniels, to get Wine, MJJ, opportunities to wreak havoc. And as I said, I think they're going to see, aside from first down, you're going to see a lot of 30 front with guys blitzing from the second level, so we can try to get one lineman to miss his blocking assignment and get through. If we can get through, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. I don't care if we're in Tuscaloosa. They're going to be in trouble. And we need Jaden Jackson and Stone. Grayson's been playing really, 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 really good. That D tackle combo has been killing. We need those D tackles to come through. But this is a game I want to see more Heine than Kobe, especially if Kobe's still coming off a bad wheel or a bad growing. Yeah. I think it's growing. I prefer more Heine, who can run and play in space, than I would Kobe in this game. And I would prefer more of Kendall as a second level defender, carrying stuff and playing in a run game, than him playing at the third level.
Who would you want to see at safety in this one, D-Mac? Well, we've now seen like a combo of powers. We've seen obviously Peyton and RSJ struggle with some of those the decision-making points at times against Tennessee. Against Ole Miss, he also had a few moments, right? I believe he gave up the touchdown in the end zone against Ole Miss. What combo do you think OU deploys there, or at least who do you think gives OU the best chance to succeed in getting the bulk of the snaps and not doing the 22 starter bit, but guys who are going to give you consistent down for down reps?
At the second level, I think the three guys we named, I think Kobe, Kip, and Daniels need to get the lion's share of the carries or the lion's share of the snaps at the respective defensive positions. At the third level, I don't have a good answer for you. I want to see more Jacoby. I like the puppy too. 12 is nice, right? 12 is nice. He gets in there and does his stuff. I think Ryan Williams is a guy who's not too big for him. Bama doesn't necessarily have 6'3" dudes. They just got like 5 is kind of like a running back now. They him as and to run the
Yeah.
ball and to catch the ball. He's a really good yak guy. At the third level, I mean, Peyton. We gotta remember Peyton. I don't love Powers at the third level, just based upon what I've seen on film. I love Powers as a cheetah. I love him in that nickel backer position, like the nickel backer, like the Roy Lee kind of where Roy played a ton back in the day. Kendall as well. RSJ's been underwhelming, to be honest with you. Been underwhelming. So I just think they go with their starters. I don't have a problem with that. At safety, they got to play the guys who are playing the best. And they got to sit the guys who are giving up booty. When RSJ gives up that touchdown in the first quarter, he can't give up that same touchdown again in the fourth quarter on the double post. You cannot give up the double post in the first quarter and then do the exact same thing in the fourth quarter. That's one as a 4-year dude, 3-year starter. He's been starting 3 years. He's got to pick that up. So,
Man, D-Mac, let's wrap this thing up today, man. What do you think? Are you still that? It looks like the internet might be cutting out a little bit, but we'll see if we can get back online here. But let's see if we can wrap this thing up with a score, D-Mac. What do you see this game forecasting like? Give us a score prediction on this one. And then obviously, guys, for those who listen to the show, we will be live immediately right after the game with the post game, giving you the Gorilla Nuts Player of the Game segment, as well as just analysis real time as to what we saw in the game. But D-Mac, pick this OU Bama game.
I should say 20-3. Most people didn't even that, but we don't even know. But no, I think we win the game 27-21. It's gonna be a barn burner. It's gonna be a game where the defenses are gonna bend but not break. I think the keys to the game is X-Rob being able to run the football and reminding Alabama faithful that last year was not a fluke. And so give me Sooners 27. Our cool, calm and collected kicker makes 2 really key big time field goals. We score 3 touchdowns. I think they score 3 touchdowns. We win the turnover margin, and Mateer takes the easy throw. 27-21. Give me my Sooners.
I love that. I do think, OU has almost changed their strategy. And I won't say change their strategy, but there's a conservative level of play now, D-Mac, when they're at the 30 and 40 on the plus side, where you just can almost bank the points, right? I mean, what does that do for you as a team where you're not saying like, man, if we don't get inside the 25, it's going to be a risky kick. Anything, beyond 37, 38 yards is potentially a problem. We have seen just how important, this SEC ball, this isn't OUSV of 2012, where if you don't go touchdown for touchdown, you're not winning the game. Points absolutely matter. In this one, though, I think, and this is some crimson-colored glasses with just how this team has been progressing, Mateer has looked a little faster, a little more explosive every game. This Alabama defense is solid, not great, and I think this Oklahoma defense gives them a distinct advantage on that side of the ball, particularly with guys that can rush the passer. Even without an RMT, Taylor Wine has played well. Okoye has played well. You've had other guys get pressure. And in this one, what perfect game, if you will, that I don't want to say you never want Jaden Jackson out there, but this feels like a game where having Stone and Halton, Williams to some degree, kind of manning that inside as pass rushers who can get skinny and get upfield and keep a guy like Simpson at bay when they are trying to throw the ball, and then also have those pass rushing scenarios, which we know that isn't Jackson's, that's not his calling card, if you will. He's a hole plugger. He's going to take the center out of the game. He's going to man the middle. But Alabama, I think, is going to do a lot to avoid that. Give me OU 34. Once again, some field goals get kicked in this one. And I think 30 has been the mark for OU having success this year. I think 30 is where they probably need to get to. So give me OU 34, Alabama 27. I have a feeling that that's where this thing is going. All these games have been really about what we've thought. I don't think the Tennessee game was a huge surprise. I don't think the Ole Miss game was a huge surprise. South Carolina, OU outmanned them, and they just had more weapons, and the defense was so good. But D-Mac, as the the internet kind of wanes for the evening, and when we get out of here tonight, give us your closing thoughts before we get ready for kickoff tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. I'll be on Twitter watching my game on 2 screens. 1 screen to critique, 1 screen to keep it live. And I'm looking forward to seeing us win. If the good Lord sees fit, we'll be going live right at the end of the game or right there after the game. If you guys don't have anything else to do, come listen. Have a go at it. Listen, if we win, we generally have about 200 people. If we lose, we generally have about 300 people. I want to have 200 people. So I want to be speaking about how we found a way to win the game so we can continue to talk about the playoffs.
Absolutely, man. It's always much more fun to discuss football when you got some future goals that are still out there. Guys, go over to OU Insider, ouinsider.com. Get yourself a membership. We'll be posting over there in the game threads, different posts. D-Mac is posting the excerpts over there. And Brandon and Parker, they just do a really great job. They've been so cool through the growth and the Barry and Mack show and sort of where it is and how it fits into what they do. So major shout out to them. Guys, we appreciate you all so much. Make sure to follow us on X. DMac is at D_Mac13. Find me at BWise Fitness at letter B, WISE Fitness. Hope you all enjoy the game tomorrow. As always, Sooner Nation, thank you for tuning in. We will see you soon.